الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام عليك يا صفوة الأنبياء والمرسلين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانهر إن شانئك هو الأبتر صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم وقد صدقت أنت يا سيدي يا سيدي يا سيدي يا سيدي يا مكي يا مدني يا عربي يا قرشي يا هاشمي ويا سيدنا يا سيدنا يا سيدنا يا حبيبنا يا طبيبنا يا حبيب المصطفى صلى الله تعالى عليه وآله وسلم. Respected elders and brothers in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, we will be blessed with another occasion of Jumatul Mubarak, and that too in the month of Hajj. Today is the first of Dhul Hijjah, depending on whether, we're not going to go into the debate on that, whether you follow the moon sighting or whether you follow Saudi. Nevertheless, we are in the month of Hajj. And today, I want to just briefly discuss what is Hajj. Remember the word Hajj, it has a lughawi ma'na and it has a istilahi ma'na. It has a linguistic meaning and it also has a technical meaning, a shar'i meaning. The lughawi meaning of Hajj is qasad karna, niyat karna. That is what the Hajj means. Literally, if you want to know the linguistic meaning of Hajj, is to make an intention towards something. To qasad, a niyyah, that's what Hajj means. Now the istilahi meaning, the technical meaning of Hajj, Imam Asfahani mentions that the technical meaning of Hajj is to make the qasad, to make the intention to do the ziyarah of Ka'batullah. That is the technical meaning. So this is the connection between the linguistic meaning. The linguistic meaning is to make an intention towards something. The istilahi meaning is to make the intention towards seeing the house of Allah, Ka'batullah. Now in regards to the Kaaba, many people think that the first one to build the Kaaba was Ibrahim alayhi salam. But in reality, the first one to build the Kaaba was Adam alayhi salam. Because it is narrated, Imam Bayhaqi narrated in his book Shu'ab al-Iman, that Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu narrates that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that the first place on the earth that Allah created was that place where the Kaaba is. That place with underneath the Kaaba, that was the first piece of the earth. And then from there Allah created and spread the rest of the earth. So in essence, the Kaaba is the center of the earth. It's the origin of the earth from which the rest of the earth was created. So when we face towards the Kaaba, we are actually facing towards our origin, meaning the center of the earth. Now, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam alayhi salam, and he made it إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ khalifa, that Allah had the irada of creating a khalifa on earth. Because remember, when Allah put Adam alayhi salam in Jannah, and he told Adam alayhi salam not to eat, not to go near the shajara, the tree. And because out of forgetfulness and to the whispering of the shaitan, Adam alayhi salam went near the tree. And as a result, Allah then put Adam alayhi salam on the earth. Now, we are not from amongst the Christians who say that Adam alayhi salam committed a sin. Because remember, Adam alayhi salam is a Nabi, and it's the Aqidah of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah that a Nabi cannot commit sins. So this is not the sin of Adam alayhi salam, right? So how do we, the first thing we say that Allah himself explains that Adam alayhi salam, it was his forgetfulness, right? Because insan, we have been created as humans, insan. The word insan comes from the word nisyan, to forget. And Just like, for example, when we are fasting, whether that be the Nawafi fast or in the month of Ramadan, if someone was fasting, eats a meal, and he has forgotten, does that break his fast?
No.
The answer is no. If he had genuinely forgotten that he was fasting, and even if he eats a full meal, it will not break his fast. Why? Because he forgot. He did not deliberately commit that act. In the same way, we do not say that Adam alayhi salam, who is the Nabi of Allah, that he intentionally, deliberately had the irada to disobey Allah. This is not our belief. We say it was out of his forgetfulness, right? And we do not say that it was the result of that disobedience. We cannot even call it disobedience, but the Christians say it was the result of that sin that everyone was placed upon the earth. Adam alayhi salam was placed upon earth. We say no. Allah's intention was inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa. Meaning from eternity, Allah had planned that Adam alayhi salam would be put on the earth. Now, what is the reason for going through the whole process of putting Jannah first and telling him not to eat from the tree and then putting him on earth? Is in order to teach humanity. Because remember, the acts of the Anbiya are lessons for the rest of the humanity. So Adam alayhi salam, when he was put in Jannah, it was in order for us to learn a lesson about how to make tawbah. Because when Allah put Adam alayhi salam in Jannah you have everything. And that tree was a symbolic expression of what's going to happen in life. Because in life, in Jannah for example, Adam alayhi salam, he could have done meaning everything was halal for him. All the different types of foods, everything. And even in dunya, people say, Islam is all about haram, right? But that's not the case. If you think about how many things are halal compared to how many things are haram, there are a lot more. Think about, you're allowed to have all types of foods, but Allah says refrain from pork. You're allowed to have all types of drinks, but Allah says refrain from alcohol, meaning the amount of haram compared to halal is insignificant, right? But yet we still want to commit the haram. But this is just human nature, that we want to get what we are told to refrain from. So this story of Adam alayhi salam eating from the tree, when he ate from the tree and then he was placed upon the earth, he then had nadama. So this is why yesterday in my talk I mentioned about what is tawbah. Tawbah is to have nadama in the heart. So from this we learn from Adam alayhi salam that if you make a mistake, if we were to make a sin, then you have to create a nadama in the heart. And then it was at that point that Adam alayhi salam made a dua and he said, Rabbana zalamna anfusana. That verily I have wronged myself. Right? Rabbana zalamna anfusana wa in lam taghfir lana. That if you do not forgive me, wa tarhamna, and if you do not have mercy upon me, لَنَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Verily I'll be amongst the khasirin. Right? So once Adam alayhi salam was forgiven, then the zuriyah, the nasl of Adam alayhi salam continued to today. Now, the point I was mentioning is that Allah ordered the angels to do sajda to Adam. Allah ordered all the angels to do sajda to Adam alayhi salam. And when Allah created Adam alayhi salam, the angels asked the question to Allah. The angels said that we do your tasbih, we do your, meaning we praise you, glorify you, we do your tahmeed and tasbih. Why are you creating a human who would cause bloodshed and suffering on the earth? This is a question that the angels ask. A lot of people, they ask the question today, why is there, so much, why did God create a world? Why did Allah create a world in which there's so much suffering in the world? Why didn't Allah intervene? This question is not necessarily a bad question. Because this question, the angels also asked this question. The angels asked Allah, oh Allah, why are you going to create someone who's, as a result of it, is going to create bloodshed and suffering in the world? But what did Allah say to the angels? Allah said to the angels that I know what you do not know. This is our answer. Because remember, when the atheists, those who disbelieve in Allah, they say, I can't believe in Allah because you believe God is all loving and He's also all powerful. Right? If He's all loving, then He would want this evil and sufferings to stop. In fact, He wouldn't even create all this. If He's all powerful, then He has the qudra, He has the ability to stop it. But the evil and suffering still exists, so I'm going to disbelieve in Allah. This is what they say. But our answer to that is that yes, Allah is all loving, that Allah is all powerful, but He's also all wise. He also has the totality of all knowledge. So we say that the reason why Allah does not stop these sufferings and allows it to happen for a period of time is that there is wisdom behind it. Now, some people may say, but I don't see the wisdom. This in philosophical terms is an argumentum ad ignorantium. This is an argument from ignorance, that just because you don't see the wisdom doesn't mean there is no wisdom. Just because you don't see the reason behind it doesn't mean there is no reason behind it. All you have to accept that is it possible for there to be a rational justification for this suffering. And this is why Allah said to the angels that I know what you do not know. I'll give an example generally. That imagine that we all go downstairs and we go to the downstairs hall and we see a person lying on the table, and there's a man with a mask on and he's got a saw in his hand, right? And he's sawing the leg of the person off, and you can see the blood gushing everywhere, right? What would be our reaction? We would say, oh, what's going on? You know, this is evil. And we all come back upstairs and we want to try to stop this now. But then I go to the minbar and I see a envelope. I open the envelope, I read the envelope, I pull it out, then I've calmed down. I've calmed down now. Now you don't know what's written on the envelope. And all of you are still panicking. You're saying, Imam Sahib, why are you not doing anything? Why are you not stopping that? There's a man downstairs with a saw and he's chopping a man's leg off. And I say, I know what you do not know. I know what you do not know. Now, in this situation, when they see what's happening, they think the only explanation for that this person is evil and he's chopping a man's leg off. But if I was to tell you what I know, when I read the letter in the envelope, it says that that man downstairs, he has got a tumor in his leg. The person with the saw is actually a medical doctor. And he's actually under anesthetic. And the reason why he has to chop his leg off, because if he does not, that tumor will spread to the rest of his body and he will die. So, before you had knowledge, you were thinking that this is evil, that this person is killing him. But in reality, he is saving him. So this is the lesson of how little we know. So when you see evil and suffering in the world, you think, what's the purpose of this? Why is Allah allowing this? This is why Allah said to them, when the angel asked this question, Allah said, I know what you do not know. Right? Now, even though we say we do know there are certain wisdom behind this, in order for us to be tested, in order for us to learn life lessons. Because do we not say that patience is a virtue? Patience is a virtue, but we cannot attain patience without going through difficulty. Hence why Allah puts us through difficulty in order to attain patience. Right? Isn't generosity a virtue? It is a virtue. In order to be generous, there has to be some people who are less fortunate than you. In order to develop that trait of generosity, there have to be people who are less fortunate than you. So, there are many answers to those questions, but the biggest answer is what Allah gave to the angels. Allah said that I know what you do not know. Now, as a result of this, the angels, they felt nadama, they felt the guilt, that how dare we ask this question to Allah. Then Allah said to the angels that underneath the arsh, do tawaf, circumambulate it 3 times. Underneath the arsh of Allah, the throne of Allah, this is known as Baytul Ma'amur. This is known as the tawaf of the angels. And said Imam Zayn al-Abidin, he talks about this and he says 70,000 angels, they do tawaf of Baytul Ma'amur every day. And that angel that does tawaf, He's not given an opportunity to do tawaf again. So you can imagine how many angels, since the beginning of time, 70,000 angels are doing tawaf underneath the arsh of Baytul Ma'mur. And that angel that does tawaf once, he's never able to do it again. And this is underneath the arsh. And we know that the famous narration that where the Prophet ﷺ is now resting in Madinatul Munawwarah, 70,000 angels come in the morning and 70,000 angels come in the night. Right? And that angel that comes once can never come again. Right? Below the arsh of Allah, 70,000 angels do tawaf. But when they go to the grave of the Messenger ﷺ, 70,000 angels come in the day and 70,000 angels come in the night. And how fortunate are we that Alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed and Allah has given us the opportunity that no matter how many times you want to go to Madinatul Munawwarah, how many times you want to do Tawaf Ka'batullah, there is no limits. You can do as much as you want, right? But the angels, right, they can only do it once. They can only do Tawaf once of that Baytul Ma'mur. The angel can only visit the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam once. So we should be thankful to Allah that Allah has given us that opportunity. Now, when Adam alayhi salam was placed on the earth, he remembered that time, and when he used to see the angels doing tawaf of Baytul Ma'mur, he used to say, he used to miss that time. It was a beautiful spectacle that he used to see. And he wished that something like that was on the earth. And Allah accepted his plea, his dua. Then Allah sent the angel Jameel and marked the place where the Kaaba is. And that is the beginning of the Kaaba. And Adam alayhi salam, he built the Kaaba at that place. So, and that Kaaba is directly where the Bayt al-Ma'mur is under the Arsh, where the angels do tawaf. The Kaaba is directly underneath that. So, when we remember this now, when you do tawaf around the Kaaba, know that above you that the angels are doing tawaf at Baytul Ma'mur. Okay? Now, coming on, so this was the first ta'ameen, the first building of the Kaaba. Then after that, the Hazrat Shish alayhi salam was the one that rebuilt the Kaaba. And then that remained until Nuh alayhi salam. And before I go to that, I just want to mention as well that how did Adam alayhi salam build the Kaaba? So Adam alayhi salam went to 5 different mountains. And he gathered the soil from 5 different mountains. And with that soil, with that mitti, he then made the Ka'batullah. Now the ulama say, the awliya say, that this is an ishara, that why 5 and why mountains? What also is 5? Our salah. 5 times a day we face the Kaaba. So this was an ishara, this was a sign that Adam alayhi salam collected 5 different soils from 5 different mountains. This is Allah teaching us that even if your sins are as much as 5 mountains, even if your sins are as much as 5 mountains, if you pray 5 salat towards the Ka'batullah, which was built with these 5 soils, then Allah would forgive you 5 mountains of sins. That is the ishara that we get from the building of the Kaaba. Then Shish alayhi salam rebuilt it. Then in the time of Nuh alayhi salam, when there was a flood, and the Kaaba was then destroyed, then Nuh alayhi salam then rebuilt the Kaaba. Right? And it was like this, rebuilt and built many times. And in the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam, that is when, this is what's most famous as being the Kaaba, when Ibrahim alayhi salam built it. Because you also have the Maqam Ibrahim, that stone in which Ibrahim alayhi salam stood upon. And it used to lift, miraculously it used to lift in order to help Ibrahim alayhi salam build the Kaaba. And when Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he built the Kaaba, the Matim area, that area which is just outside the Kaaba, that curvature area, where some people pray Salah in the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam, that was actually inside the Kaaba. That was inside the Kaaba. And this is how it was. And then eventually, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born, the Quraysh, they rebuilt the Kaaba with the Matim outside. Right? And then Abdullah bin Zubayr, he then rebuilt the Kaaba with the Matim inside. Right? And then in the time of Hajjaj bin Yusuf, he then made put outside. And then it kept happening like this until in the time of Imam Malik rahimahullah, the Khalifa at that time was Harun al-Rashid. He also, now the Mateen is outside in the Bunyad of the Quraysh. He wanted to rebuild it, Harun al-Rashid wanted to build it like at the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And he asked Imam Malik, who was the Mujtahid of the time, for permission. Imam Malik didn't give him permission to do that, because he said that if I give you permission now, then the Kaaba will become like a toy. The haiba, the sanctity and the dignity of the Kaaba will be destroyed. That if you keep rebuilding and destroying and rebuilding the Kaaba. So from now on, you're going to keep the Hatim like it is. Right? And that is the Kaaba that we have till today. Even though it was restructured due to the passing of the time, but that is the Kaaba that we have today. So this was like a brief history of the Kaabatullah. Now, the ayah of the Quran that I recited in the beginning, the Inna A'tainaka al-Kawthar, the verily Allah has given the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam al-Kawthar. And in my talk previously, I've talked about the meaning of al-Kawthar, how al-Kawthar means ay al-khayra kulla, meaning the entirety of all khayr was given to the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now, this month of Hajj is a month of sacrifice. What are we remembering in this month of Hajj? It's the sacrifice of Ibrahim alayhi salam. When Allah ordered Ibrahim alayhi salam to sacrifice his son Ismail alayhi salam. Now, the beauty of Islam is that the Islamic calendar begins with sacrifice and it also ends with sacrifice. The Islamic calendar begins with Muharram al-Haram. In Muharram we have the sacrifice of the grandson of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Imam Hussein. When Imam Hussein in the battle of Karbala gave his life for the sake of this deen. So Muharram, the first Islamic month, starts with sacrifice. The last Islamic month, Dhul Hijjah, also is sacrifice. So the Islamic year starts with sacrifice and ends with sacrifice. Meaning our deen is all about sacrifice. You know, in this month, inshallah, many of us, if not all of us here, will be doing Qurbani. What is Qurbani? Qurbani is not just the shedding of the blood. The Qurbani is a symbolic expression of the sacrificing of your desires. When we do Qurbani, when we give the money and we do slaughtering the animal, we should imagine that through this sacrifice, our desires are being sacrificed. This is the spiritual form of the Qurbani, just like the Salah, we talked, it had the physical form and it also has the spiritual form. Qurbani also has a physical form and a spiritual form. The physical form of the Qurbani is that you slaughter the animal. The spiritual form of the Qurbani is that you imagine that when that blood is shed, your sins are also being shed. That is the spiritual form of the Qurbani. And remember, just a few masal before I finish about Qurbani, the Qurbani is wajib upon every Aqil, Bali or Muslim. So a sane, Bali, someone who has reached the age of puberty and somebody who is a Muslim. Obviously, Qurbani is not wajib upon a non-Muslim. And somebody who is Bali, somebody who has reached the age of puberty, right? And remember, reaching the age of puberty has certain signs of puberty. However, the ulama say that if someone has reached the age of 15, and the signs of puberty are not there, he is classed as reaching the age of puberty. It's a very important Muslim. If someone has reached the age of 15, even if he has not had signs of puberty, he will still be classed as reaching the age of puberty. And remember, in the Islamic, we go by the Islamic calendar, because remember, in Islamic it's 10 days before the lunar calendar. So, if someone has reached the age of 15, you have to remember it's 150 days before. That's when it's actual 15, but meaning it's the 15th birthday according to the Islamic calendar, not according to the lunar calendar. So that's the first condition. He must be aqil, must be sane, he must be baligh, he must be a Muslim, and he must be also malikun nisab. In order for Qurbani to be wajib upon you, you have to own the specific amount which is similar to the amount of zakat. In other words, if zakat is fard upon you, then Qurbani is also wajib upon you. And roughly the approximate amount for nisab is £338. So if you own roughly £338 at the time of Qurbani, what is the time of Qurbani? The time of Qurbani is from the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, the Fajr of the 10th of Dhul Hijjah to the sunset of 12th of Dhul Hijjah. If even for a moment you become Malikun Nisab, you become the owner of £338, then Qurbani is wajib for you. And what is the wajib qurbani? It is either one goat, one sheep, or 1/7 of a camel, or 1/7 of a cow. This is the very minimum that needs to be given for qurbani. And the qurbani has to be given in that time, from the 10th of Zulhijjah, from the Fajr time, until the 12th of Zulhijjah at sunset. Now, when you give qurbani, now some people say, can I give qurbani on behalf of my wife and children? The answer is, it depends. If your wife and children are also owners of nisab, then qurbani is also wajib upon them. Now, the wife can give the qurbani herself, the child can give the qurbani herself, but if the husband wanted to give qurbani on behalf of his wife and children, he must ask their permission first. If he did not ask their permission, if they were not made aware of it, then qurbani would not be valid for them. They still would have to fulfill their qurbani. And in terms of who we give qurbani to when we slaughter the animal, it is sunnah to split it into 3 parts. 1/3 is given to the poor, 1/3 is given to your relatives, and 1/3 is given to your own family. It's not like zakat where you cannot give it to your own family, right? Zakat has to be given to the fuqara and to the poor. But qurbani can be given to the family. Now it could be given all to the family, it could be given to the poor, but the sunnah is 1/3 to the poor, 1/3 to your relatives, and 1/3 to your family. May Allah give us the ability to understand the masail of qurbani so we can act upon the deen in a manner which is according to the sunnah. And just an announcement for Eid. So Eid inshallah will be on the Sunday, next week, Sunday the 10th of July. And the Salah will take place at 9:30, but the Eid will start at 9 o'clock. So the speech will be given at 9, and the Jamaat will take place at 9:30, inshallah. And just a reminder as well that every Thursday we have our zikr mahafil, we have our zikr gathering in which we revive our hearts, and a short bayan, no longer than 20 minutes. So if you go and attend that as well and gain reward for both those. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.